What's up? What's up? What's up? You know what it is, man. Rap Sheet Hollywood. We bring you the live. It's the freshest commentary in Hollywood. But of course, with a hip hop flair, I'm your host, the incomparable Poop Diesel. And yo, check this. Today, we got a special guest in the building by way of Chi-Town. You know, we out here in LA doing it real big in Hollywood. It's my man, Video Dave, in the building, man. Video Dave, what up?
What up, y'all? Peace, peace. Thanks for having me, man. I'm happy to be here, brother.
Man, peace, King. We always like to shine light on cats that's doing some of the most amazing things. Some people know, some people don't. We like to make sure we bring it to the forefront, you know? And so, with that being said, I know, look, first off, my boy Taylor Taj kept in my ear, like, you gotta get with Video Dave. He's doing a lot of stuff. He's on tour. He's moving around, worldwide stuff. He's an artist. He's putting things together. We're gonna talk about all that today, man, and just really get into it. So, bro, let's just start with your name, Video Dave. Like, you do a lot of different things, not just music, make music, produce. You also in television, bro. Just kind of talk a little bit, man. Video Dave, tell us about you.
Man, I've had a bunch of names. Video Dave, that turned into my name just in the last 3-4 years, just because the homie, really the homie had to, like, his son one time opened the door. I came to his crib and his son opened the door and was like, "Oh, this Dave?" I was like, "Damn." He was like, "Oh yeah," he always thinks I'm talking about Serengeti Dave. He's like, "Nah, Video Dave." And then, like, we were doing a little skit for the internet. And he just, like, turned me, it was like, "Video Dave." And, like, people just like that shit. And it was like, sometimes you just got to be like water. You just got to go where that shit goes. So, like, people caught on to it. And I was like, word, Video Dave.
That's what it is, man. And I know you've been doing a lot of different stuff in industry. So take us back, like,
Yeah.
how you would get, like, the name Video Dave because of the work that you do, and then just talk about your beginnings in Chicago. So catch us up. If somebody don't know Video Dave, what would you say? How do you explain, like, some of the stuff that you do?
Yeah, I'm from Chicago, born and raised. And I went to school at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale,
Okay.
which was one of the best choices I ever made. And I was a psych major for like 3 years. And communications minor. And one day I was in the communications building and I was real tired of psych. Like, that shit was really, I wasn't feeling it. And I just seen a bunch of kids walking with, like, lights and cameras and tripods and shit. And I was just like, yo, that looks like, it just caught me. I just remember turning and seeing them, like, wait, I want to know what they're doing. So, I convinced my mom to let me switch my major. And I switched to radio and TV production. And I had already been making beats at that point in college. And, like, the second I started editing, I was like, oh, this is the same shit. Like, editing and making beats to me was the exact same thing. There was no separation for me. I was just like, oh, shit. Like, I already knew what I was doing just because I had been making beats. I was using Acid 4.0. So, everybody else was using MPC back at that time. But I learned how to make beats on the computer. So once I opened up an editing program, I was like, yo, this is the exact same shit. And right there in my head, it was like kind of a match. Like, I always loved music videos. I always loved TV as a kid and shit. So for me, it was just like, this is it.
So let's talk about it, man. What were some of the projects, some of the things that, you were able to work on, and, talk about your travels and even going overseas. And, I know you got a nice following in London. Talk a little bit about, what were some of the projects that you worked on and what you got going on now.
Like, back then in college, I did a few albums with my family, people I was kicking it with. We had like 2 group albums. I produced all those. And then after college, I moved to Miami with one of the homies. He was down there, and he actually linked up with the Jungle Brothers out in Miami. And he called me up like, yo, man, he kept telling me, you got to come to Miami so we can work on this music. And I was like iffy on it. That's the homie, he go by Surfboard Scene now. But I was iffy on it, whatever. And then one day he called me up like, yo, you ain't gonna believe this, but I'm at the Jungle Brothers, and they talking about they want me to finish an album. You got to come help me finish this album. I was like, all right, now you talking.
JB,
So
shout out to JB's,
yeah,
right?
That was a different way of framing that convo. So I went out to Miami. It's my word. We're in the studio with the Jungle Brothers. Like, I wasn't even sure that's the homie, but it was still like, is he really down with the Jungle Brothers?
Right.
And we went and we was in the studio with the Jungle Brothers, and they was like, yo, like, we played up some tracks and shit, and they're like, yo, y'all are ill. You got to record. You gotta, and whatever. They were on their way out of the country going on tour, and they were like, yo, we go to across the country, we do all that type of shit. Y'all gotta record this album while we're gone. And for one reason or another, that just didn't manifest. It didn't happen, Looking back, it's just like, damn, I wouldn't have let that one slip away now. But me and him, we whatever. That opportunity disappeared. But I was in Miami and we was making beats, making music. Eventually I got tired of Miami, moved to New York, and I was working in like video production, working like doing editing, all that type of shit. And I ended up getting a job at a school, a for-profit school, as like their equipment manager. So then I'm like dealing with all these cameras all the time. And I'm like, okay, this is tight. Like I have access to all this shit. And then like the school was like it was real fucking shady for-profit school, but they had different campuses in different cities. So I was the equipment manager and I was going to Chicago and my cousin was like, yo, man, we should do a music video. So I hit up the equipment manager in Chicago, was like, yo, I'm the equipment manager from New York, blah, blah, blah. When I come through, can I borrow some gear? So he let me use all the gear, did that video for my cousin. Then eventually one of my homies, like we're chilling and I'm like, yo, I mentioned outside of my mouth, like, oh yeah, this video I was working on. She's like, wait, you do videos? Like she didn't even know I rap and did videos. I'm like, yeah. And I showed her the video that I did. It's called a Cupcake. And that shit just cracked up. She loved it. She liked the video. She liked the song. And she was like, yo, I work for a Teen Mom for MTV? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. And she was like, yeah, I'm like the boss. She was like, you made this video? You know how to work cameras and shit? I'm like, yeah. And then she gave me a chance to be a camera op on Teen Mom. And then that shit started taking me all around the world. Like, music wasn't doing it. But all of a sudden, I'm traveling the country, being in vans, chilling, meeting all kinds of motherfuckers, doing TV. So I just followed that path for years. I kind of retired. I told myself I retired because I was making beats, making albums and shit, and that shit wasn't popping off the way I wanted it to. So I was like, fuck it, I'm done with this. Just did TV for a while. And, but you can't really quit this shit, the hip hop shit. Right. You can tell yourself you do, but
it's in your blood. It's in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Talk about real quick, the latest projects that you got going on, man. And then, even working with cats like Open Mike Eagle, talk about that and even working with the legendary Madlib, like you got some credits underneath your belt, man. Talk about what we got going on right now and then some of them joints.
Yeah, Open Mike Eagle's the homie. I met him also in Carbondale, Southern Illinois University. Like we was just homies back then. Like we had a crew, all of us be, freestyling, kicking it, playing chess, watching TV, that was the homie. And all them years later, he was coming through to Chicago. Like actually, I remember I seen that shit on some shit on the internet. It was like Open Mike Eagle performing in New York. I'm like, what? Open Mike, like damn, Open Mike, he's still doing it. Like, we hadn't reconnected through the internet yet. They used to be the homie in college, but we hadn't reconnected. So I'm like, oh shit. Hollered at him when he seen the show. That shit opened my eyes up, man. It was like Arm& Hammer was performing. They just dropped a joint with The Alchemist, album with The Alchemist recently. And shit. But like, I went to this show. It was some shit I didn't know about. I had been trying to rap and all this shit for years and thinking that like, I had to like run up on Kanye in the street or meet Jay-Z. It was like the way I thought. Like I had an internship at one point in Chicago at a studio where DMX was recording that. And, like, not that I'm saying I was in that world. I wasn't a part of it like that. It was just an internship. But just in my mind, it was like, shit, I got to be talking to DMX. I got to be talking to Jay-Z. And I wasn't there. It wasn't happening in any kind of way. Right. I had met the Jungle Brothers at one point. So I had this certain idea. But when I went to that rap show Open Mike was doing, it was, a room full, the room was sold out. Motherfuckers were singing along. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this? Like, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? For me, it was just like, wait, I remember underground shit, but I didn't know that this shit was still going on. So me and him reconnected. I did a music video for him just off GP because I was the homie. Then we reconnected, started talking more and more. And then eventually one time I seen that he had online and he had a deal with Comedy Central for a TV show. And I was like, I got to hit the man up and like hit him up on some professional shit. Like, yo, it's me, Dave. But on the real, I do TV. Like I'm actually a producer and all that shit, sending my resume, all that. He was like, okay. And then he brought me out here. I was in New York for like 10 years. Then he was just like, it was like my 8th year in New York. He was like, yo, man, can you come through LA, he wanted to produce these videos. He wanted to do 5 videos for his album, but you know, kind of like keep them thematically the same. He had different directors, but he was like, "Yo, you down to come and take on this project, produce these 5 videos?" And I was like, "Yo, yeah, you know, I'm trying to work on your Comedy Central show." And he's, you know, slow down, slow down, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
let's see how these videos go. But that shit worked out. We did them 5 videos, and he was like, and then I ended up working on his Comedy Central show. Like, that got me on the track with Method Man, got me in the music video with Method Man.